Welcome back to Frederick Advice Givers, episode 181. I am Eric Verdi. With us this week is Dr. Donald Kress, board certified plastic surgeon here in Frederick, right near the FACS, the warehouse. My boys play soccer there many times in the winter, and right behind the Domino's, right? The Domino's Pizza. So you're in the office facility right behind there. Dr. Don Kress has been doing this for 34 years.
That's correct.
The first 7 were outside of Pittsburgh.
That's correct.
The last, whatever that is, 27 have been in and around Frederick. Have you been at the same location?
No, we've moved offices 3 times, but I've been in the Frederick City proper for all that time.
Awesome. So before we get into what you do in your daily professional activity, tell the listeners and viewers about yourself. Backstory, origin story, where did you grow up? What do you enjoy doing in your spare time? Family.
Lots of things I enjoy in my spare time. Basically, I like water activities.
Okay.
So I had a sailboat for a few years. I'm looking forward to getting another sailboat, scuba dive, swim. I'm fairly good exercise.
Okay.
And you start the day pretty much 3 or 4 days out of the week. I start the day with the gym.
Okay.
Go from there.
Married?
Married, second wife, but
okay.
Yes, married.
Kids?
Kids are grown.
Okay.
My daughter's an artist. My son's a spook for the Naval Intelligence.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So, Dr. Kress, why did you choose to start your practice in Frederick, and why did you choose to, have your roots here?
Good question. Essentially, the person who talked me into going into plastic surgery was a senior plastic surgeon, and when I was in the medical training, I was trying to make up my mind what I was going to do with myself. I was so impressed with the life that he lived, not that he was a rich guy, but because the variety and the creativity that he brought to his job every day.
Right.
I was totally hooked on that. I think I'm a frustrated artist, but didn't have the courage to go out and do art on my own because a lot of those guys starve.
Right.
So being a doctor gives you a little bit of an edge. So I was intrigued by that. And then when I first finished all my training, I went into practice with him. But in the meantime, he had hired 3 other plastic surgeons, so we were a group of 5. Okay. And I tolerated that for about 7 years, but the dynamics of a big group like that with all their individual personalities is horrible. And plus, I was raising my kids in the Rust Belt. And so I thought, I got to do something about this. And I went to a meeting. I ran into an old plastic surgeon from Frederick called Lauren Busselberg.
Okay.
And Lauren says, I'm being buried in this town of Frederick. And I sort of knew where Frederick was. He says, I would like to talk you into coming to Frederick, but I don't want a partner. I just want you to move to town. So that sounded good. I only made one serious mistake. It never occurred to me that an entire state would use one bridge to get to the ocean.
Yep.
But you just have to plan. It's possible to get across that bridge. You just have to have planned for it.
You have to plan for it. So my wife and I just bought a place in Ocean City.
Oh boy.
And I actually went to Salisbury, which is down on the eastern shore.
Sure.
And so I'm very familiar with that trip and going down to Ocean City and the beach. And for years and years, we would take 50. Okay, after you get over the Bay Bridge, you take 50 around. And we've recently started to hit the old 404 and go up through Delaware and come down.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, so that's a pretty nice way, but I know exactly
I got lost one time and did that.
Right.
And it was a pretty ride.
Yes, it is. It is.
So that's how I got to Frederick.
Okay, very cool. So where is your training? Where did you go to school? For the lay person that's watching the video and audio, people are intrigued with doctors and physicians. So give us your background.
Okay, well, I was kind of one of the golden children in high school. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I had all kinds of scholarship opportunities. Ended up going to Franklin and Marshall College in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And got kicked out after 1 year from partying a little too hard.
You're my kind of doc.
So then I thought, well, maybe I better do something with my life because I know I'm a smart guy. I got capable, so I went. And there was it was the time when you really couldn't dodge the draft. So I ended up knowing that I was going to get drafted. I went ahead and enlisted. So I enlisted in the Army. I thought I better make the best of this because this could be my career. My father was career Air Force, and I thought maybe this is what I'm destined to be. So I went in the Army, went through all the training, went through airborne, became a Green Beret, which qualified me to go to Vietnam, which I did, and got some medals and stuff, including Bronze Star. But then, I really didn't like the Army as much as I had hoped to. Mostly because you kept working for idiots on a pretty regular basis. So when I got out of the Army, I went back and decided to go back to college, and I finished 4 years of college in 2.5 years, and it went straight on through the rest of it. So I went to WVU, undergraduate and medical school. From there I went to Hershey Medical Center for plastic surgery training and general surgery training.
Awesome. So Army and Vietnam definitely made you grow up.
Yes. Motivated me a lot.
I bet it did. I bet you've got some stories there. We're not going to go into it today, but I bet you've got some stories. All right, Doctor, so let's take this more back to a personal level.
Sure.
What's the last purchase that you splurged on for yourself or your family?
The last fun thing?
Yeah, fun thing, trip, material, whatever.
Can I sort of dodge your question a little bit? Because
it's your interview.
My wife and I have both decided in the last 5 years that if we can't eat it or drink it, we don't want it as a present, because we're overwhelmed with stuff in the house. So I would say my purchases, the last one that I really would count on was for her birthday. I took her to Edinburgh.
Okay. And
we had a blast in Edinburgh, and then I said, I'll give you 5 days in Edinburgh, but I want 3 days. And she says, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm not going to tell you. So we went to Edinburgh, and we had a ball. We went and saw the locks and all that kind of stuff. And then we went, got on the train, went down to London, got on a high-speed train, and I took her to Paris as a surprise.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. When was this?
Oh, just a couple of years ago,
Awesome.
5 years ago.
Awesome.
We've been some on other trips and things too, but I really am not in until I can afford another boat.
Right. Was it just the two of you that went on that trip, or?
Yeah.
Awesome. So, Doctor, what hobby or interest outside of work, and it's probably along the boat's line, but what hobby or interest could you spend hours doing?
Oh, I hate to admit it though. It's looking at the stock market.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you day trade?
I don't trust Social Security. I don't think I've got enough in my retirement, so I think when I do finally retire, I'm going to have to be able to do some intelligent investing to support myself.
Okay.
But we'll see. So I sort of play with that, but I'm not good at it yet.
Stocks, bonds, puts, calls, anything?
Yes.
Yes, all of the above?
All of the above.
Awesome.
But I'm not brave enough to take on currencies and commodities, just kind of normal stuff. And I don't have big accounts, but I do keep current reading and stuff.
Okay. I've done some research on currencies, and that's very fascinating. The arbitrage between different countries at different times, and
my goodness.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
A fraction of a cent makes you a fortune.
Exactly.
If you go the wrong direction. Unless you go the wrong direction.
It could cost you a fortune too.
Yeah.
So you own this practice by yourself, right?
I do.
You're the sole owner. So yes, you are a board certified plastic surgeon, but you're also an entrepreneur, being that you're not owned by a hospital. You're not
That's
owned
correct.
by an insurance company like some of the doctors in town are now, right?
Exactly so.
So what's that motivation inside of you? What's that fire that keeps you going?
The service that I can provide to the people.
Okay.
I mean, what fuels me is having people come in with a problem and having them leave with a problem solved.
Okay.
And I really, really love that.
Awesome.
Probably every doctor says that, but I actually really mean it.
Cool.
That's the thing that makes me go, and that's why I'm not upset with the fact that now I'm taking care of all these people that have problems. Right. They've been to other plastic surgeons, or they've been to something that claimed to be a plastic surgeon. Now they've got serious problems, and I've been around long enough, and I'm not quite like that one insurance commercial. We've seen it all.
Right.
I've seen a lot.
Right. Funny. So, in the pre-interview, and anybody that knows me will maybe get a chuckle out of this. In the pre-interview, I asked if you specialized in anything, and you mentioned breast just find me. So you specialize now. You do
I do the
breast,
whole
or
cosmetic field.
Okay.
I can't do the breast reconstructions anymore, which is one of the things that I regret.
Okay.
But I can't work with the insurance companies anymore because I've quit all the insurance companies. But I do repair on the breasts that have been partially done. The way that happened, it was, and I still do everything, but my leanings is towards the breast. Is just that early on I ran into a gentleman who bought a breast implant company. Actually, him and his friend built it, and I became friends with him, and I became one of his investigators. So there was a period of time when the only implants that were available in the United States were the saline implant and the new, what they call gummy bear implants, were just coming on the market, but they had to have data to go to the Food and Drug Administration. So I talked to them. I said, I would love to be one of your investigators. And so because of that, people came from the northeast of the United States to get these gummy bear implants because I could put them in before they were approved by the FDA. So, so I probably did over 500 of those breast implants in those couple of years because I was one of the clinical investigators.
Okay.
And I gave them good data, and because that reputation got out, I've sort of never been able to shake it, but I don't mind shaking it. I don't
Awesome.
mind. I like being one of the breast surgeons, recognized breast surgeons.
Very cool.
Sure.
So what advice would you give somebody just starting out in business? And this could be in the medical profession, this could be anything.
It's not going to be original.
Go ahead, that's okay.
But it's my favorite.
Hey, that works.
Do what you love.
Yeah.
Money will follow.
Right, exactly.
Chase money, you'll be a miserable person.
Right, yep, and
You agree.
I do. And I heard that quote, Doc McClellan, who was a vet in town, not senior doc, but his son who took over the practice. I was best friends with his son growing up, and I remember one winter, we had about a foot of snow. He lived up on Mount Zion Road, and his driveway's like this.
So do I.
You're up there too?
Yeah.
Okay, so you probably know who Doc McClellan is.
Yeah, I think I bought his house.
Okay, you did, maybe.
I did.
You did. Okay. Okay. Small world. So that driveway, I guess your driveway now.
I know that driveway very well.
Your driveway now. Me and Brian had a foot of snow. We're out there shoveling it. Okay. Took us about 3 or 4 hours, and we went down to the old, what is now Shuck and Shack, which used to be, I'm drawing a blank right now. Griff's used to be Griff's. So we went down to Griff's to have lunch, and we sat there in a corner table, and he said, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. So that's kind of a play off of what you just said.
Exactly.
Awesome. So I didn't realize you bought the house.
Boy, it's because I didn't know Frederick was that small.
And apparently it's really small. All right, so on the flip side of good advice,
Sure.
What is maybe either a bad piece of advice that somebody gave you starting out, and or something that you learned throughout the years that you would do differently now, or different now?
Yeah, that's a little bit of a challenging question. I just think you have to be, one of the things that I've always brought to my practice, and I think any variation of that ends up coming back and biting you in the backside, and that you just have to be scrupulously honest.
Right.
If you can't do something, admit you can't do something. If you can't get the results they want, tell them you can't get the results they want. If you try and fudge that stuff, it's going to get you.
Right.
So I just, my wife even kind of laughs at me. You're like, could you write a note for it? No. He's like, I don't lie. I just don't.
Right. Awesome. So in the last 3 years, what's a choice that you've made to where you are today in your life? And this can be professional or personal.
That's a good question. But I continue to pick up new techniques, even though I'm getting a little bit older, and I think one of these days I'm going to be retiring not too far off, maybe 5, whatever. I continue to keep to the front edge, and there's lots and lots of new fun things that are coming out. So I think that's probably the choice, is to keep myself as educated as I possibly can. And it doesn't hurt that some of them are in nice exotic locations that you can go visit.
I mean, you have to, or you're going to be a dinosaur if you don't keep on top of the technology.
That's right.
Right. All right. So before we get into the next question, tell me about your book. Trust Me, I'm a Plastic Surgeon. Did you write this?
Yes.
When did you write it? And
I wrote it about 6 years ago now.
Okay.
The cover designer was my daughter, the artist.
Okay.
And basically, the majority of, at least 50% of the book are how to avoid getting in trouble from bad plastic surgery.
Okay.
And that's really why I wrote it. But then I filled out the back of it with an overview of what the different procedures are,
Okay.
what they can realistically deliver, and how they can hurt you. And so it really is it's just the survival guide. It really is a survival guide. There's lots of information in there, from how to know if you're got a properly trained plastic surgeon. I mean, I had a lady. I'll give you a little anecdote. Had a lady who came from, I did occasional work at Sibley, because I was helping out a little plastic surgeon down in DC. I was in Sibley, and one of the plastic surgeons at Sibley was in the recovery room, and the DC police came in and arrested him out of recovery room. And the story that goes behind that is he was a substance abuser, and his wife was afraid he was going to kill somebody, so she turned him in. Well, the lady from that recovery room remembered me and came out here, and she had had 4 breast augmentations from him. She was a complete mess. He had charged her over $35,000, and with one like $5,000 surgery, I hit her perfect, and she went back to DC.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That's what I get a kick out of.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, so Dr. Kress, you are episode 181. 181. I have sat across the microphone from
I'm honored.
180 other entrepreneurs and business owners. I learn by asking questions. I have known of you for years, but we have just met recently. I want to flip the script and have you ask me a question.
Sure. What do you get a kick out of?
I get a kick out of, I'll answer this in 2 parts, two different ways. Personally, I've got 2 boys, 12 and 10. And even at this age, every day, they pick up something new, especially when they were a lot younger. When you have young infants, every day is a new experience with them. At this age, it's balancing the act between being a father and being a friend, coaching their teams,
Sure.
and being there to put your arm around them, but also being there to discipline them. I probably am a little bit too light on the discipline, a little bit too much on the friends, but we'll see how that plays out over the next few years. Professionally, I love, Frederick's my hometown. I've been here 43 years now, besides a stint in Salisbury College. I love helping business owners, helping the community. Frederick's just a really great town, and anything I can do to help the community, anybody calls me up and wants to pick my brain on something or meet, or
Sure.
I always try not to say no. So family, my boys, my wife, but especially my boys, and then community activities.
Well, I think you've got an awesome job,
Thank
because you're able to delve in things in a little bit more detail than any of the other media forums can do.
Exactly.
And you get to know the people that you're talking about instead of just the fluff off the top, which anybody can do that.
Exactly, and I get, one of the benefits, I didn't see this happening, is how often do we get to sit and turn off our phones for an hour and talk with no distractions? I barely even do that in my personal life.
Sure.
After this interview, I'll know more about you than I know about some of my close friends.
Oh,
right?
thank you.
So last 2 questions. What failure or loss, and this could be personal, this could be business. I've had people lose loved ones. What failure or loss has helped mold you into the person that you are today?
That's a little bit challenging. I think that some of the people in my life that I lost unexpectedly, like my father was walking onto an airplane and fell over dead, and there's people in my family that I didn't always take the time to spend with them, and then they were gone.
Right.
Yeah. And it's really a shame, because I try not to do that now, but you can't undo those things.
It's I've experienced loss of people very close to me, not father.
You always think you've got time. And you don't.
Right. And then you always replay that in your head, what if, or I wish I would have, or
I really wanted to know this from my dad, and I forgot to ask.
And I never asked.
Yep.
Exactly. So, Dr. Kress, where do you see yourself in 3 years and then in 10 years?
10 years floating around the Caribbean on my sailboat.
I knew that was coming. Awesome.
3 years.
Will your wife go with you? Is she on that plan or not?
She's a little bit younger than me, but she loves the boat. And
Okay.
She's a good captain too.
Okay.
3 years from now, I'll probably still be here breaking somebody into taking over this practice.
Okay. Awesome.
So I would like to have somebody that has the same enthusiasm, skills that I do, and I'd like to spend a year with them and make sure that they're the people that I can turn